Check this out. Lamborghini has been making some incredible cars since 1963. They've been known for their V12s, but when the Aventador came into the picture, everything changed. So this is the car that put Ferrari on notice. This thing looks like an aircraft. Take a look at the design. The front is very aggressive. It's got some massive side vents right here. You've got a really cool engine bonnet. Visible V12. It's got a nice wide stance. Something that you really want on an exotic car. And one of the coolest things about this car is that it has the scissor doors that Lamborghini is famous for. A lot of people ask, why does the V12 get the scissor doors, but not the Huracan? The main deal is because the Huracan body itself is a little bit shorter versus the Aventador body style has got a really nice long body. So if that door were to open out wide, you can only imagine it's going to be impossible to park. So it made more sense. And also at the time, whenever they were putting the scissor doors on the vehicles in the early part of Lamborghini's life, it made more sense just to do something very exotic. But then you've got a car like this, and you move over to this is the final form. This is the SVJ 63, which essentially is that car, still has the same V12 engine, but this was the final curtain call that put Lamborghini on that worldwide map for making one of the coolest cars ever. So they took all their engineers and all their designers, they put their heads together, and they said, how can we make this car even cooler? So obviously they came up with the SVJ series before the 63. Then they released the 63 version, which they only made 63 of the Roadsters in the world and 63 of the coupes. But look how awesome this car is. They threw all the different options at it. You've got all the carbon fiber doors, panels. You've got the good seats. So you had the option for the sport seats or the comfort seats. In this case, which most people choose, the comfort seats, because it's really nice to drive around in those comfort seats. But look at how cool this car is. Obviously, the original Aventador was incredible, but this thing just turned it up a notch. Now, take a look at this engine bonnet. Remember the other one on the original that we looked at earlier? This thing is super cool. Full carbon fiber engine bonnet. You can see your V12 there. It has this really cool wing that only the SVJ's got, which allows the air to escape from those little veins right there. So it comes up from that tunnel and it goes into each one of those sides. And the way it does it is, there's a little flap in there. See it? I don't know if you could see it from this angle, but that flap opens and closes for the left side, opens and closes for the right side. And depending on what you're trying to do on the track, it can give you the downforce where you need it. I also love how they did, for the 63 version, technically, they did all of your livery. So the livery is all over the car and it looks incredible. So where do you go from here? You've already got an amazing car. It's the perfect spec. Everyone in the whole world loves it. But you've got to do something even more incredible. You've got to push the boundaries. So you take a little bit of the characteristics from this car and some of the characteristics from the Lamborghini Sian. You keep the V12, but you add in a bigger hybrid system. What do you get? You get the Lamborghini Revuelto. This came out in 2024. This was the replacement for the Aventador. So as you can see, it's still got the very nice long body to it, but it's got more aggressive angles. On the front, you can tell the hood, it's got more of a floating bonnet setup, versus over there, the hood was connected to the front bumper. So now it is floating. So that increases the aerodynamics, some of the downforce, and you've got different ways to set up the design when you do that. So see how cool that looks? You've got your really cool daytime running lights that look like they came right off of the Sian. You've got the really big accentuated intakes on the side, and those are actual intakes. You can see intercoolers in there, and you've got intakes even behind the windows and the mirrors. But also take a look at the inside now. So when you go and look at the original Lamborghini Aventador, you've got this setup, which is really cool. A lot of people loved it. Since 2012, it's kind of been the same, other than some of the digital dashes they gave you in the later rounds. But you can see why so many people enjoy the design And on the interior of this car, you'll also notice that getting inside of the Revuelto, it's not nearly as deep. Getting in the Aventador, this thing right here is almost double the size, so climbing over that can be an issue if you have problems with mobility. But look how cool the interior of this thing looks. You feel like you're inside of a spaceship. You got the modern touchscreen, you got a passenger screen, very minimalistic design, but it's got more space, it's very open. You've got good visibility even out to the back to your V12. So that was Lamborghini's answer to the world when they were like, okay, what do you do next? They only make a model max 10 years, so they made the Revuelto. And since then, these cars have gone pretty nuts. Some of the first ones that were released, they weren't supposed to, but they got flipped for $1 million. And then people started finally getting their cars, so the market came down to the normal pricing. But in the very beginning, you always know that one person who's got to have the car, and they'll do whatever they can to get it. So there's the Revuelto. There's the Aventador. Which one do you prefer looking at the two? Do you prefer the sleek, aircraft-like original Aventador, or do you prefer the more modern, updated Revuelto? This is 1,000 horsepower. The original Aventador was 700. The SVJ63 was 770. And this thing can actually drive on full electric with a full charge for up to 6 miles. Or are you the type that you don't really like the longer body styles? You want something like this. You've got your Huracan STO. It's got a shorter body. It's not as wide, but it's on purpose. Everything is perfect on this car. The design, the aggressiveness. This is the STO, so this is going to be the Super Trofeo Omologata, which is supposed to be like the street legal Super Trofeo race car that a lot of people know and love from the Super Trofeo series. This car is really awesome. It stems from the original Huracan Evo, not the Evo, I'm sorry. Well, it has the Evo body mixed in with a little bit of the Huracan Technica, and they came up with the STO, which is awesome. But it is based on the Huracan original body style. As you can see, the styling is definitely more aggressive. They've got this big O cover over the engine bonnet. It's got this fin here in full carbon. It's also got this wing in full carbon. And it's manually adjustable, so you can come in and adjust it here and here on both sides. So at the Lamborghini level, you've got options. You've got the bigger, longer V12s, the classic stuff, then you've got your newer stuff, your Revueltos, or you can go ahead and get a Huracan, which they actually stopped making in 2024. They originally started making these in 2014. They make them for 10 years, that's the V10, and then they finalize the product and they move on to a brand new product. But that's just some of the cars. Then, if you don't see yourself driving, if you can't see yourself driving in something like one of these or one of these because you've got 4 kids or 3 kids or 2 kids, then this is an option for you. It still is a Lamborghini. When you're driving it, after 7 to 10 seconds, you forget that you're even in an SUV. This was their answer because a lot of our customers, they do have families and they don't want to only be the one to have fun. They want to have fun with the whole family and their friends. So this was Lamborghini's answer. In 2019, they released the original Urus. This is the most updated one. This is the 2025 Lamborghini Urus SE Hybrid. This has 789 horsepower. It does have a hybrid system that can do full electric driving for 30 miles, which is incredible when you think about where companies have come. You've got a Lamborghini brand that's making hybrids now. So it's not just your Priuses out there in the world that are making these hybrid cars. Lamborghini has jumped in, and really they had no choice. They had to jump in because the competition themselves are using those technologies, the hybrid technologies, the turbo technologies, the Not most of them aren't using superchargers anymore, but a lot of companies jumped in with the turbos and the hybrids. So this thing is a twin turbo hybrid V8 4.0 engine. Then we come to, this is my used car side, or my pre-owned department. So you'll find some pre-owns back here. But when you look at the original styling, when they were first released, it looks something like this. See how you got the Y design here? The hood has got a lot more lines on it versus the newer styling in 23 and 24, it looked more like this. The hood itself was more flat, but it did have some wide angles to it. But they've gone with the straight lines here on the intakes, and the overall body looks very similar. Versus the new 2025 that looks very different compared to the front end on the original Urus. So this is where we started. 2019, we released this to the world and people went nuts. Everybody had to have one. They were selling out like crazy. Lamborghini as a company doubled their sales. So these days, Lamborghini sells around 10,600 cars for the whole world. And 30% of those vehicles come to the US market alone. And a great majority of the cars that come here are Uruses, because somebody can come in and try to buy the sports car, but their family's gonna say, no, get the car that we can all have fun in. So you could either do something like one of the sports cars that I showed you, or if you wanna have fun with everybody, you've got the option for the SUV. And if you wanna get real technical with it, we can bring you into our configuration lounge, where we would build the car on the screen behind me. So you choose everything from stitching to brake colors to the stereo system you want, to whether or not you want massage seating. And then you've got some of your options. So I've got some of the bigger leather options here, and then I've also got more leather options in here with some of the new stuff that just came in. So you can come in and choose. We don't just limit you to like white and brown and black and gray. We've got orange seats, we've got purple seats, green seats, and then you've got more options for paints, stitching options, and then you've got more paint. So if you come around the Lamborghini configuration room, you can grab something like this right here, the Arancio, and you can see what it looks like in person versus trying to figure out what it's going to look like on the internet. So you've got this color right here, the blue Nethans, which looks really cool. But if you flip it, you've got a matte side for that. So you can only do that here at the configuration lounge versus trying to build it at your house, where it can get a little bit sketchy sometimes because you're trying to pick the blue for your $700,000 Revuelto and you don't want it to be the wrong blue. So I would highly recommend just come by the dealership and take the extra 20, 30 minutes and see these colors in person, especially things like your brake calipers, because for example, the greens, you only really have a couple green options for the calipers versus the multiple green color options you have on the exterior. So you want to make sure that the green calipers match, at least closely match, the green exterior that you've chosen for your car. So those are some of your options. I'm Alex here at Lamborghini San Antonio. I can walk you through all this, or we can just do it all over the phone. If you just don't have the time, we can get all your order things going over the computer and the phone. And I do have a lot of customers that just buy directly through the internet, which is fine. But at the same time, if you have the option to come in and experience what it's like to build your own Lamborghini, I think that's the best way to do it. So you get a true experience of buying that dream car that you've been wanting.